Hi, this is a review of the Ibanez S7320 guitar. I've recorded this because although there are some reviews already on YouTube about this, only a few I found helpful. I was looking to buy a 7-string guitar, wanted an Ibanez, had a look on YouTube for some reviews of this guitar and I didn't really find anything that was particularly useful. So I thought I'd give it a go myself and see how it comes out. I had trouble in particular deciding between this guitar and the RG7321, which is a less expensive Ibanez 7-string. So let's run through it, let's have a look at the guitar and see what you think. Can I just apologise before we start for my guitar playing? Turning on a camera suddenly seems to stop my fingers from working, so I do apologise for that. Right, before we start to listen to the guitar, a just quick overview of what the guitar is all about. As its name suggests, it's a 7-string, but then you knew that already if you were watching this. It's part of the S series, which is slightly different from the RG series, which I'm used to playing. I've got an RG570 already. It's got the extra B, but again, you probably knew that. It's made from a mahogany body, and it's got a maple neck, or is it rosewood? Can't remember. But the key thing is it's got a mahogany body. It has two AH7 humbuckers. These are stock Ibanez humbuckers. I'm looking to replace them with EMG 707s and 817s, which I've already got. But those are quite big pickups compared to these stock ones. So it's just a word of warning that if you're thinking of swapping these stock pickups for EMGs, just be careful because it's a lot of extra work and not all guitar shops will actually do that kind of work, because some extra wood has to be cut away from the body because the pickups are actually quite big. So it's not a straight swap one to the other, something to be aware of. It's got a ZR trem system, ZR for zero resistance. I don't tend to use trems a lot because I tend to play Les Pauls most of the time, but my RG's got a trem system, but this is probably the most sophisticated trem system I've seen so far. When I do use it, it's really good. And it's got locking nuts at the top, which the RG7321 doesn't have, so this stops the guitar going out of tune if you go a bit mad with the whammy bar. It's got a 5-way pickup selector switch. It's got 2 pots, volume and tone. So it's quite a simple guitar actually. The fact that it's made of mahogany gives it a real low end, gives a lot of sustain. So it's a little bit like a Les Paul from that point of view, but it's a lot lighter than a Les Paul because the guitar is really thin. Les Pauls tend to be made of mahogany and quite thick. This is quite thin. It's thick in the middle, but it tapers out towards the edge, so it's quite comfortable and light because a lot of Ibanez's are quite light, so this remains the same. The neck is a Wizard 2 neck, I think. It's quite thin. It's not as thin as my RG 570. But it's a lot thinner than my Les Paul or any Strats that I've ever played, so it's probably just about right for its width because it's a thicker neck this way, so the thickness works out quite well, and it's still, I think, good for playing fast on it, and that's the key thing for me, that it's thin enough to play fast. So you probably want to know how it sounds. First thing is that it's quite good for clean sounds, I found. Don't play clean very often, but it sounds really good for clean. So I think it's really nice. But let's face it, you ultimately bought this for the heavy sound. So let's see what it sounds like with a little bit of overdrive. What I'll do is I'll show you what the low string, what a difference that makes. If I play just a kind of standard made up riff in E, then go down to B. Sorry about that riffing, that was a bit rubbish, but there you go. But it, you can see the difference of dropping down those 5 semitones down to a B. It's a real monster guitar. It's got a real heavy sound to it, which is what I was looking for. and again it's easy to play because that neck is really thin. The action that comes with the guitar is actually quite low. A lot of people lower it a little bit further, but I've tended to leave the action at the moment because I really like it, and I was worried if I lowered it any more there'd be a little bit of fret buzz. So I've left the stock action as it is. You might want to lower it very slightly, but it's pretty low as it is, and it makes fast playing, well, fast for me anyway, quite easy. So lead sounds a little bit like this. Sorry about that, again that was rubbish, but you can hopefully hear that playing fast or fast-ish is actually quite easy, again because of the thin neck. If more kind of bluesy style is your kind of thing, you can still play that with this guitar. You can play any kind of style really, to be honest. Because it's got that warm mahogany tone, again I think it sounds good if you like to play a little bit slower. So for example, you play a kind of slower lead, it might sound like this. So again, good for that, good for fast playing, good for kind of slower playing. Really, in summary, what I like about this guitar is that it's well built. It feels really sturdy. You could play this live. Again, good for the studio too, but you could play this live and you feel this would really not let you down. I really like the tone of it. The one thing to be aware of is that it is, you do have to turn the bass down on the amp quite a lot, because especially when you go down onto the lower strings it becomes very bassy, no big surprise there. So when you're recording or playing live, it's probably worth turning the bass knob down a little bit, maybe more than you would normally do. The neck is nice, the neck feels comfortable, it's fast, and it stays in tune, which is great. So when you go mad with the whammy, it will stay in tune. You can adjust the trem system. There are springs in the back of the guitar that you can adjust, so if you prefer a little bit more looseness in the trem system. There's only a few things that I don't like about it. The extra routing required for EMG pickups was a little bit disappointing. The jack in the front of the guitar takes a little bit getting used to for me, because I'm used to Les Pauls and even my RG plugs in to the side, so that just takes a bit getting used to. It's a bit awkward sometimes to get in and out, and it just takes a bit of getting used to, because the neck is so thick to accommodate that extra string, especially down at the bottom of the neck here. That took a bit of getting used to. So playing solos up here, it was a little bit odd. But overall, I think it's a really cool 7-string, and if you are thinking about this guitar versus the 7321, I would thoroughly recommend the extra couple £100 for this particular guitar. It's definitely worth it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful, and see you again soon. Cheers.